Hey there, it's Dana here from Mind Body Healthy. I am going to go over phase 2 of my energy and hormonal rebalance system today, all about why it's so important to refuel the nutrient gaps. So think about a time in your life when you've had to complete a really big project or achieve some form of outcome, and whether or not it was successful. Looking back over my life, I came up with a few examples of big projects or tasks that I was involved in. So one was in my IT career before this nutrition work I do now. And it was when I was finally promoted into cybersecurity, which is the area that I wanted to be in so bad for so long. My first role included the task of doing a risk assessment, a technical risk assessment on a new vendor or technology. The company had a document that I had to fill out. It was pretty good. And then they had another report document that we then filled out as well. We gave it to the client, reviewed the findings. But we really kind of did our own thing when it came to how we filled it out, how we spoke with the client, what we shared. And I found a few places where we could create more efficiency and save time because, eventually I learned that each risk assessment followed the same process. We asked so many of the same questions, and there were only so many different answers and risks to come up with. There were dozens for sure, but in the grand scheme of things, it all kind of boiled down to a templated table that we chose risks and gaps from. So I pulled all of that knowledge and experience together. I looked for patterns and I created a system. That system then moved with me and I implemented it at 4 other companies, improving the turnaround time on risk assessments by as much as 700%. Another time I had a really big project to complete it was my wedding. I had a destination wedding and there was a lot to plan. From here in Calgary, the wedding was down in Mexico. Luckily for me, I had the most amazing wedding planner at the resort to speak with and work with. And he had this amazing step-by-step process and systematic approach to creating your dream day, no matter where you were in the world. I have to say, I was beyond happy with what he gave us in the end. The point is, efficiency and great results requires a systematic approach with specific processes to follow to achieve consistent results. And results that stick around, sustainable results. And this is what I realized when it came to overcoming chronic fatigue as well. Even though I have done a lot of work to transform my own life and health from absolutely bone-crushing exhaustion to pretty darn energized most of the time, I've had to go back to scratch a few times and try and remember what I did to get more energy. Because every once in a while, some big stressor does hit me and I need to reset myself. So I developed a system based on the 10 plus years for sure, of personal experience battling chronic fatigue, and combined with my holistic nutrition education, my fitness training, and of course, my very, very important mindset coaching. And now I help busy, exhausted women overcome chronic fatigue in as little as 6 months using this proven, unique, and honestly, pretty darn comprehensive system. I mean, I'm not one to brag, but I am very proud of this program that I've created because I just have not seen anything else out there that is quite like this, that has so many different moving parts all nicely pulled together for a busy woman who doesn't have a lot of time and energy to spend trying to piece things together on her own. And it's so important to follow a systematic approach to overcoming chronic fatigue or any health problem, honestly, because if we follow more of an ad hoc approach, it's really easy to miss crucial imbalances or waste time on the wrong symptoms or solutions. And believe me, I've done all of these things myself, and it's frustrating and defeating and confusing, but having a system to follow and always fall back on has allowed me to bounce back out of my own chronic fatigue funks so much faster, usually within just a few days now, instead of weeks or months like I used to fall into them for. And my systematic approach follows 4 main phases to recovery from chronic fatigue. And so I'm going to talk about phase 2 and go into some depth on what this means for you because it is so important. I have previously recorded a video on phase 1, so if you want to go back and look at that one, it's on breaking the stress inflammation cycle. Make sure you go back and watch that. And coming up soon, I will be recording videos for phase 3 and phase 4. When it comes to recovering from chronic fatigue and burnout, we have to always be focused on the underlying root causes and keep in mind how energy is produced. Just a quick recap. Your mitochondria make about 90% of your energy for you, and they need to be functioning well to do this. They need to be healthy. 2 main health imbalances. One is a maladaptive stress response, and the other is chronic low-grade inflammation. They signal directly to your mitochondria to turn off energy production. So what does that mean? Well, we have to focus on reversing your maladaptive stress response and reducing inflammation. In phase 1, the triggers that we can control are removed. So anything that we can control relating to stress and inflammation, like food, poor sleep habits, thought patterns, and behaviors, we remove those in phase 1. Then in phase 2, we refuel your personal nutrient gaps. Your entire body runs on nutrients, and many very important nutrients are used up really fast when any type of imbalance is happening. For a woman living with chronic low-grade inflammation, omega-3 fatty acids, zinc, and vitamin D are typically very low. And then with a maladaptive stress response, the nutrients used up really fast and often in a deficit, even with the healthiest of diets, are vitamins like vitamin B5 and B6, vitamin C, magnesium, and sodium. So when we refuel the nutrient gaps, we're really focusing on getting more than enough of these nutrients into the diet. And my clients get the best quantities of these important nutrients by following a sustainable type of diet that I've created that's a combination, pulling the best, most hormone supportive components out of keto, paleo, and Mediterranean. I call it high fat, low carb because it is essentially higher fat to lower carb ratio. And of course, with a maladaptive stress response, it is important not to drop too many carbs. So we always have to take a very cautious, delicate approach to removing certain carbs and replacing them with nutrient-dense foods to support hormonal health. It's not just about food when we're refueling the nutrient gaps either, though. And I think this is a common misconception that if we have nutrient deficiencies, we just need to eat different foods and take different supplements. Chronic stress. If you have a big stress load, this is going to impact how efficient your digestion is working. So we have to examine the health of your entire digestive tract. And we have to work on improving eating hygiene. So that's all about how you eat. So a lot of women know what to eat. It's how we eat that's really important as well, this eating hygiene concept. Overall, we also boost your nutrient intake by strengthening the ability of the digestive tract to break down and absorb the foods and nutrients for you without causing undue inflammation and imbalances in the guts. Digestion is so key here. This has to be working well in order to get the nutrients into your body. Sounds complicated, hey? Well, it is kind of. It's definitely a balancing act, but with support, guidance, and a bit of experimentation and a lot of patience, you can reset your digestive system pretty quickly. For most of my clients, it's usually within 4 to 8 weeks. It took me a lot longer because I was experimenting, but with my clients, we're down to a science, 4 to 8 weeks, and they're back on track. And finally, we also have to focus on mindsets and working on changing any thought patterns that are keeping us stuck, because again, this causes maladaptive stress response. As women, tradition has taught us to think and be a certain way, whether that's the primary caregiver, the person who puts everyone else's health and needs ahead of their own, or some women are overachievers, want to, do it all, be it all, take it all in. Or some women are the worriers, always wondering what's going on, what's going to go wrong, worst case scenario, staying up worrying unnecessarily if people are out and about. And then we often become really attached to these personalities, and they create more stress and health imbalances for us. So my system, I've included a comprehensive mindset and perspective shift training component to really help women identify some of their limiting beliefs, thought patterns, these personality types that could be keeping them stuck, and help them reduce their personal stress load and take back control of their own health. So remember, we always want to be focused on the two main underlying root causes of chronic fatigue. And this approach that we're using, the approach we take to boosting energy, has to include nutrition, lifestyle habits, and mindset work. It's this triad to chronic fatigue recovery that is so important in your journey to better health. All of these steps to refueling your nutrient gaps are found in my energy and hormonal rebalance system, which is, like I said, my comprehensive online coaching program for busy women looking to overcome chronic fatigue and burnout. I have 2 coaching options for you if you're interested, and I'd love to help you get started on your journey. If having a proven system to follow along with the support, accountability, coaching, someone you can ask questions of basically anytime, and instead of waiting between appointments, someone who's already been through what you're going through right now and come out the other side with so much more energy and living a happy, healthy, normal life, I think. I'm pretty happy with it. If this is something that you'd like, you feel that would be really helpful and really beneficial to you and getting you from exhausted to energized, then use the link below in the description here to book a free 45-minute audit call with me. It's an energy audit call. We're going to dig into what's going on with your health, what might be holding you back, and we'll talk about whether or not the energy and hormonal rebalance system is a right fit for you. All right.